Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim, all their person's truth, throughout the four corners of the earth, to the hopeful elect out there. This is the brother Hadabiah coming back at you with another one. And my last video I did, I went into the fact that chaos is approaching, you know and this, I want to just play off the word chaos. And in the midst of chaos happening, in the midst of you know of everything that's about to happen through the MOTB, and just getting closer to the return of Yahweh Shai, you know, within all this chaos that is going to happen, this chaos, with this chaos happening, our salvation is also approaching, So that just shows balance, because there's going to be a lot of judgment. It's going to be very bad times. It's going to be hard times. But on the flip side, in the midst of all the chaos that's going on, Yahweh Shai is going to, deliver us. And we pray that we're of the hopeful elect. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 13. I want to start at verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region of the place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this beheld I, lo, and all they which were gathered to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst flight. So, this is going into, Yahweh Shai coming back on that massive chariot, and and um and while all while all this is going on, because this is going to be going on in World War III, the elect are going to be in those chariots, and they're going to be, we're going to be saved. And that's the thing, like, even though all this chaos and every, ICBMs are going to be going off, and it's just going to be, total commotion, the Lord is going to, protect us and save us, Lord willing. Lord willing, part of that remnant that is going to be saved in the midst of these things that are going on. And this is going to take place in World War III. During World War III, the Battle of Armageddon. Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, or held a sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw he sent out his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and all they were all mixed together, the blast of the fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one so that upon the sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. And I saw this, and I was afraid. So, this is Ezra has seen this, seen this vision, and he's afraid. And that's how people are gonna be. That's how, the 2/3 are gonna feel. That's how, these heathens, these other nations. That's how they're gonna feel when they see Yahweh Shai, just you burning shit up, turning people into dust, turning anything into dust. Even like even the even Esau's warships and their jets, just complete dust, you know, and that you can only imagine, what that's gonna look like. That's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be panic. But, we're gonna be, Lord willing, you know, we can be of that remnant where we will be saved. This is Isaiah 26:20. Come up, my people, enter thou into the chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, and the earth shall and the earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. So, the Lord is going to be, fucking shit up, and the elect are going to be safe in those chariots. While things are going on, you can only imagine when Yahweh Shai makes an appearance. You might earthquakes could be just popping off in different regions of the earth. The ICBMs are going to be dropping, definitely on Babylon the Great, but they're also going to be, dropped in different places of around the earth. Chaos is going to be, going out. This is the climax. You can just imagine all the things that are also going to happen leading up to this great return. And these things have to happen. These things all have to happen in order for us to get out of here. So it's not like with the Christians. They'll preach. They'll just talk about the Lord coming back, and they don't have to go through any of it. They get to escape the hard times. That hour of temptation. You know, and that's not so. We're gonna have to go through that fire. We're gonna have to go through a very bad and chaotic time. But the light at the end of all this, is Yahweh Shai, and he is our salvation. He says, "Woe, Amos 5:18, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into a house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it?" So, this time that is approaching, is a very dark time. There's just gonna be, just battle after battle, test after test. There's gonna be nowhere to hide. There's gonna be nowhere to hide in the time of Jacob's trouble. So people says, "Woe to you that desire the day of the Lord," because people don't understand what this, what's really gonna go down, and that's why people, are gonna be in an uproar. People are gonna not know what to do, during this time. We just pray that Yahweh Shem Shai will just have mercy upon us, and then just you know just lead us and get us through Jacob's trouble, and to make it into those chariots. It's Isaiah 66:15. For behold, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke of flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die when Yahushai returns. A lot of people are going to, be judged when just confusion and everything is being taken place. And that's why, these things have to happen. That's why these camps out here, they don't like to talk about, these things. They don't like to tell the people what's coming. That's why it doesn't matter about building a community here. That's why it doesn't matter about, setting up yourself for a 5-year plan. You want, those who truly love and believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they want Yahushai to return like yesterday, because we want to get up out of here. But we also understand that, certain prophecies have to take place. And we understand that things are going to have to get really bad in order to obtain salvation. We get it. There's no escaping it. You just have to, face it head on. This is also going into the chariot. And then Zechariah 5:1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. So, these chariots, when these chariots start making their appearance, people are gonna bug out. People, all the aliens are here. Like people ain't gonna know what's really happening. People are gonna lose it. People are gonna shit themselves, especially when they see Yahushua return. 1 Thessalonians 4:17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be. And I think about this all the time. This precept. Jacob's trouble happens. Getting through the hour of temptation. Seeing just the miraculous miracles that the Lord is going to do for us, in order for us to get through each day, get through each minute, get through each hour. Making it, being alive, to witness just everything go down, and to be beamed up into those chariots. So this is 1 Thessalonians 4:17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. So even the ones, even the ones of us who have to, be put to death for Yahushai, it's all good, because at the end of the day, we just want to make it onto those chariots, But those of us, the ones that are not going to taste death, and to witness Yahushua come back, to see that, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Being safe and just watching the Lord, just you just imagine all the elect just praising and cheering on Yahushua and the angels, as we witness them just getting payback, especially Yahushua. This is Revelation 11:12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to the heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them. So that's gonna be that's a very chaotic scene. It's going to be chaos to everybody else. But to us, that's salvation. Salvation through chaos. That's what it is. That's what it's going to be. They're being abducted? No. The Lord is having mercy upon us. We're being rewarded for sticking it out. And now we get to watch y'all be judged. Read that again, Revelation 11 and 12. And then and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to the heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the cities fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So that war is coming. World War III is coming. And it has to come. It has to happen. MOTB has to happen. These things have to happen in order for us to obtain salvation. And Lord will, we make it. Lord will, we finish the race. Lord will, we get to witness our enemies be judged. On this side, because in the kingdom you're going to see it, but on this side. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. So, just like it says, in Revelation, and they ascended up into the heavens, and and ascended up to the heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them. It's the same thing right here. The straight and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, because where are you gonna get beamed up into chariots? UFO. We don't even know how the chariots look. We can only imagine. Esau's, make movies of what so-called UFO may look like. We have no idea. The different shapes and sizes. That's what people are just gonna be bugging up as the elect are just going up into these chariots. Verse 3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom he had sometimes in derision, and a proverb and a reproach. We fools account his life madness, and his end to be without honor. So these people, especially these people look mad at us when we're on the highways and hedges. These people look at us mad when we don't want to partake of certain things of this world. But it's all gonna make sense when Yahushua returns and beams up his elect. And Lord will, we're gonna be part of that. And in the midst of all this chaos, we're gonna be saved. We're gonna be saved and kept safe as Yahushua pours out his fury upon Babylon the Great, which is America. So that's going to do it for this video. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, and peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim out there pushing truth throughout the four corners of the earth. I pray this lesson was edifying. Lord willing, until the next one, Shalom.